Alright, so we've got the final round of the Silver League for the T90 Titans Season 2. And we've got WhiteCourt here on the Berbers. Nice cavalry civ. Naval as well, but that's sort of inconsequential here. Faster villager movement speed as well, which actually does sort of add up if you're playing with a spacious build or you've got a distance gather at all. He's up against Sneaky Koala today, who's on the Mongols. Cavalry Archer Civ. Also nice step lances as well. Nice workshop movement. Extra scout line of sight, which sounds pretty minimal, but it actually means you don't have to cover as much ground with the scout, assuming you're using it near perfectly. So what are we on today? Oh, put up Tech Tree instead of, here we go. Another Serengeti game, eh? Our players have got like close spawns here over the top side of the map, rather than sort of being a more cross spawns position. So there's shitloads of gold down here towards the bottom of the map. And there's really minimal resources to fight over here between our players at the top. But their stone is towards one another, particularly the large stone for WhiteCourt and the small stone here for Koala. So I wonder if this ends up being a problem for either player. And yeah, there is fairly normal-ish sort of gold here around the player's base. So 7 relatively easily gold deposits. So WhiteCourt just walling himself in, expecting to play a patient macro game, I suppose, and just might be worried that Koala's going to go for some early barracks or stables aggression. Koala, not worried about walling in, just wants to barrel towards age 2. Maybe be the player with the aggression early on. Because the resources that you put into aging up, into walling off when you're both aging up, sort of means that you're allowing your opponent to either get the earlier fast castle or get the earlier second town centre, or just access to castle age units or feudal age units in general. But bearing in mind on a civ with increased villager movement speed, it's not such a problem. So WhiteCourt has really walled himself in here, while Koala nice and open, going straight towards that quick stables. needs to have the barracks first anyway to place it, but he'll ignore militia production or getting man-at-arms upgrade in favour of just making a quick scout cave here, I think. Well, he's actually going to start walling himself in a little bit now. But this way he's actually got the first military production out, while WhiteCourt's only just starting on it now. Like, he's already got the walls up, but now he starts the military production. Conversely, Sneaky Koala has the military production. He starts on the wall production. But given the base layouts and the fact that WhiteCourt walled fast enough, he's completely secure for the time being. And gets a bit of a read on what his opponent's producing here. In saying that, Koala gonna have the line of sight advantage early on here. And so it's not really anywhere for WhiteCourt to actually get attacked from Koala early on here, unless he wants to sit there and tuck into one of the walls, but by the time he does, WhiteCourt can always throw down buildings behind it and extend the wall. So the spearmen actually do counter the cavalry, but not when you've got 4 of them fighting against 1. So it looks like Koala is going to be nice and secure. Considering both players have walled off, I think they're going to be safe to go to Castle Age, and we might even see this go towards the Imperial Age, because it really sort of set the tone with how they want to play the game. Koala wanting to get a slight, I guess, element of control and army manipulation there, while WhiteCourt wanting to be a bit more defensive and tech oriented, I suppose. Try and work towards a quick 3-town centre or quick castle or something of that nature. It looks like Koala is looking to go into castle with the bigger army composition the whole time and just look at being able to transition to whatever he wants in castle while still being able to apply pressure and really deny WhiteCourt from ever leaving these walls until they're both, you know, really ready for it. So Koala gonna try and push and deny these 3 scout cav from actually being able to do anything themselves. Because if Koala can force that engagement, it'll be really positive for him, I think. He's got the archers and scout cav there. There are a number of spears here though. So now WhiteCourt might be looking to take the fight because he's got a relatively even number of cav, and if the spears can get on top of them. Ooh, and he's picked off the archers, so that's really rough for Koala. He's going to have to retreat now. And great for WhiteCourt. Military size slightly favouring WhiteCourt with this pure melee army, and until Koala can get a couple more archers, it becomes tough because he needs to really be able to one-shot spearmen when he fires at them. He doesn't want to leave things left alive, so these spears will destroy his scout cav. Nice wall off there for Koala. It's going to make it hard for WhiteCourt to find a weak point here. So Koala trying to push into WhiteCourt now because he's got the units to try and tear through the walls. I mean, WhiteCourt possibly could have done the same up here, but then he's got no chance of actually coming back and defending it. Because, I mean, he probably wants to try and get the collapse on top of Koala's army. If you can get a couple of units out here and get on top of this army as it's trying to break through the walls, he can, you know, really pincer it and punish Koala for trying to pressure him. So he's being patient, he doesn't want to lose this, and I mean if he can pick off those two archers now, this would be great for him. Well, Koala going to try and run as far as he can away, because then he really slows down the chances of the whole army dying here. It's a big engagement going down now, and Koala going to want to try and focus down all the spears if he can. No, I think WhiteCourt might be able to hold this off, or maybe not. It's hard to say. Koala, yeah, has to retreat in the end. I thought the archers might have made the difference, but no, it's just enough there for WhiteCourt, and he holds on. Koala needing to retreat. So Koala committing to another stables. So Koala, Castle Age on the way. WhiteCourt still in feudal for the time being, but he's actually stopped villager production because he wants to go for castle now himself. He's queued it up now, so slightly slow on the Castle Age, but I think he'll be alright. He's down a couple of villages at this point, but I think he's actually come out ahead in terms of the army kills somewhat, so he can breathe a sigh of relief there, and he's got the quicker Castle Age over... I mean, no, he's got the slower Castle Age over Koala. His wall off was a little bit more complete, so Koala's having to extend his a little bit. Walling in those farms now. Well, stable's under a bit of threat, but archers are gonna... well, the archer is gonna prevent WhiteCourt from being able to just focus down structures, because he'll bleed too much health on his army here. Trying to bring it down. So Koala's Castle Age kicking in. WhiteCourt's isn't that far away, remember? So Koala switching to Step Lancer production straight away. He's got these 3 stables. And his opponent doesn't have a lot in the way of spearmen at the moment. I think he's only got the 1 at the moment, so WhiteCourt his own Castle Age kicking in. He is going to get 3 camel production instead, as well as cavalry armor and cavalry movement speed, so I think WhiteCourt will be in a good spot to try and defend against the Step Lancer harass, as long as he can get enough of them. Because the camels should actually counter the Step Lancers, but you do need to have the numbers on your side to win. This big ball of scout cavalry have WhiteCourt's sort of not really an answer to them, while the Camel Riders over here should be able to intercept Koala's attempt at pushing with the Step Lancers, I think. So Koala's just going to have to sort of wait until he gets some more Step Lancers or some Spearmen to actually defend. The Step Lancers are actually trading better than I thought they might against the Camels. Koala still wanting to back off. Well, Step Lancers able to really fight Scout Cab really well. Well, the Spearmen, because they're unupgraded to Pikemen, don't trade that great against a Castle Age unit. Town Centre being thrown up here for WhiteCourt. Well, Koala starting to convert some cavalry here. If he can really get numbers on his side, then he'll be able to overwhelm WhiteCourt and control the raiding here. Conversion attempt this time not successful, and WhiteCourt a lot of cavalry out in the field. Sneaky Koala up to 60 villagers now though, because he's got that second town centre. While WhiteCourt, he's now got his second town centre finished, but it's a little bit later than his opponents. WhiteCourt doesn't have the army size advantage for the moment. And there is a gap in the wall here. It's been destroyed, so WhiteCourt is inside his opponent's base, and Sneaky Koala is trying to get the walls up as quick as he can here. Palisade falling there, and WhiteCourt has a sort of hole in his opponent's defences in a couple of places. Defensive castle here for Sneaky Koala. Very defensive castle. WhiteCourt just struggling a little bit for food production, so only making villages in a single night at the moment. Sneaky Koala, pretty similar boat at the moment, although he's mostly struggling for the gold and trying to get this castle finished up as quick as he can. It looks like WhiteCourt's actually keeping off this gold mine over here. It's crucial that Koala holds on to this gold here, otherwise it's going to be it, I think. Well, looks like WhiteCourt is trying to find a way into his opponent's base elsewhere at the moment, and if he can tear down production, he can slow down his opponent's ability to actually amass any military here. Though a couple of Scout Cavalry falling for pretty much free there. Koala trying to bait WhiteCourt into conversion range there, but WhiteCourt having none of it. The healing the monks offer will be invaluable as well, as these guys take multiple engagements into one another. Quite a few low knights there for WhiteCourt as well, but at this stage he's still got an army almost twice the size of Koala, dropping another Scout Cavalry, but I think he just really wants to just mass knights with the odd Camel Rider thrown in. And WhiteCourt taking a big engagement with his cavalry here. A couple of Mangudai and a couple of monks being thrown in the mix here, but there's not really enough of a front line for him to stand still and get the conversions off. The monks having to retreat to be saved. Sneaky Koala constantly having to shuffle his melee back there. And it's all going to fall now, so WhiteCourt is now really up in terms of the army size at the moment. Koala now having to gather outside of the walls of his base, so it's starting to look a bit dire for him. He's going to have to start expanding his wall off, or WhiteCourt will be able to start working away at his economy here, because his army size is just massive compared to his opponents at 11 to 33. Villager size is actually favouring Koala, but only by a few villagers now. A lot of villagers forced to idle there, but WhiteCourt not actually catching them there. So they're safe for now. This town centre, a lot of villagers falling around it, and villagers forced to idle there for the moment. So WhiteCourt has really closed that villager gap once again. Inside Koala's base, picking off villagers of that stone mine. Koala cleaning up some of the other knights. Oh, that's been rough for Koala, not having those guys garrisoned a little bit quicker. Well, it looks like WhiteCourt is nearly able to see this set of wood gatherers up here. He does miss them though. Needs to settle down over here, but now Koala is actually down on villagers by quite a significant amount on WhiteCourt, who's gone from 2 TC up to 3 now. So Koala's actually been slightly quicker on the town centre expansion every time, I think, but every time WhiteCourt has been able to punish him for it. The Knight army not doing so well now that there's a bunch of spears here from Koala. WhiteCourt zoning first the food and now the gold, but he's missed all the wood gatherers. And I think the moment he sees those, it's going to start to look really rough for Koala. And he's also been pushed off the gold mine down here, so Koala largely just having to rely on trash armies. Once again, he's down to about 10 army units to his opponent having an army 2.5 times that size. More villagers being harassed over here. Well, there's a forward castle here from WhiteCourt. WhiteCourt going to get a pair of villagers, maybe even the third. No, I don't think he'll get the third. But he's still 16 villager lead now. But that forward castle attempt, not quite secure. Though he is going to have another attempt, and I think he'll get it this time. That Night Patrol on the gold mine still has not found the wood gatherers there. Defensive castle there for Koala, so he can defend that gold mine. Really timely for him. But a lot of this production and all these houses eventually going to fall. There's just not enough army left for Koala to actually defend any of this, I don't think. Koala able to get on another gold mine. Hence the name, Sneaky Koala, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The outpost is eventually going to reveal him. The barracks is now falling. Well, it doesn't have a lot of military production left, and he's mostly been relying on those barracks lately. Well, having to evacuate, he can probably try and get on this gold mine at the bottom until WhiteCourt chases him off it, of course. That might be just as well that he does evacuate, considering there's this much cavalry chasing, but he's going to be bringing his Mangadai nearby, so I wonder if WhiteCourt's going to divert his attention to all these villagers. WhiteCourt having a retreat for now. He knows there's a castle up, but he's got a couple of his own really aggressively placed castles. Imperial Age on the way for WhiteCourt. Koala some ways away from getting Imperial Age, as he's got to try and muster up the army to defend here now. Castle going up for WhiteCourt, really locking down resources, so Koala not going to be able to gather from the lower side of the map where most of the gold is now. And bearing in mind, WhiteCourt, as much as he never caught these villages over here, he's always had an eye on that gold mine. Koala's not going to be able to expand there either, so now he's gold locked. There's 115 that he's got in the bank, plus whatever he's still got left to mine is basically it. WhiteCourt actually just garrisoning a bunch of knights. I think they'll just regenerate slowly. Imperial Age kicking in for him now. GG, WhiteCourt takes the game.